Well, good evening. Happy Thursday, and welcome to Elegant Sentiments today. I'm Sheryl Abernathy. I'm the owner of Elegant Sentiments, and I am here today with our weekly card share number 75. And I've got some lovely Lisa Horton Crafts products that I'm going to be crafting with today. To start out with, we've got four different of her matte blending inks. I've been stuck on her metallic inks for quite a while lately. But I've got now these two. I've got Sugar Candy, Early Sunrise, Cobblestones, and Inclement Weather. And then for my sentiment, I'm going to be using the Best Wishes Thanks craft dies. And I've got my background of roses. This is the embossing folder, and it has coordinating layering stencils. And then I'm going to use this little butterfly from the Butterfly Silhouettes registration press plate and die set. So those are the products that I'm going to be using today. And let's get this put away, and then I'll bring in my sample to show you. So this is an A2 size card that I made. It's one that just I don't know what you call it, but it it sits like this. And I use my sentiment to hold that down. I actually needed to add another layer to my sentiment on there, but that is our card. Let me hold it up so you can get a better look at it. It's got some diamond stickles on there too. I didn't say the diamond stickles, but I use that on this one as well. So it's a really simple card to make, and we'll go ahead and get started. I'm going to bring in my tacky mat and my Ultimate 2. And let's see, I'll move these out of the way because I'm going to start with the Sugar Candy and the Early Sunrise. And there are 9 stencils. I think that's right. Yeah, where's the number on there? Why am I not seeing it? But there are 9 stencils because this is number 8. Oh, there's a 9. Okay, so but we're only going to use 8 of these stencils. And I'm doing something a little different this time. I'm actually going to stencil directly onto my card front. So you obviously don't have to do it this way if you don't want, but I didn't want that extra layer on there. And so that's why I decided to just go ahead and stencil with my, excuse me, my, I don't want to tape that down. I'm putting a piece of removable tape right at the corner of the bend, right at the bend, in case I happen to over ink, and without intending to, so that I don't get ink where I don't want it. Okay, let me get this down here. Okay, and then I will bring in my stencil, and I just want to make sure that I have my stencil set so that I'm inking all the way to the edge. So I'm going to move it over just a little bit like that, and then I'll put it down. And that way I'm inking all the way to those edges. And I'll show you the sample again and explain why that matters. So I think I'm going to start with, let's start with the Early Sunrise. So I'll start with this one. And then get my little blending brush. And I just want, for this stencil, just a light little coating of color. Don't want heavy color on this part. So I'm just using a light hand and just going around and getting some color on there, but I don't want it too defined. You'll see the color obviously, but not too defined on there. And just keep on going round and round until we get all these filled in, these roses filled in. It's a really, really lovely background stencil. Just pick up actually some of the ink that's already down. Will be just fine. Let me make sure I got this down far enough. Yep, I did. Okay. And then once I finish this one, I'll move on to the next. We're doing a little too much wiggling here. It helps if you push it onto your tacky mat. That'll keep it nice and sturdy. Okay, so there we go with that one. And that's stencil number 1 done. We'll bring in stencil number 2 and then we'll switch out to the the sugar candy, which is the other color that I've chosen for this one. And I'll just leave that lid off because I'll be going back and forth between these two colors here in a minute. So I hope you're having a great week. It is still here in Central Ohio. It's still pretty hot and humid, and rainy. We've had some rain on and off today. I haven't really looked at the forecast to see what it's supposed to be later on, but we'll have to check that out, make sure we're prepared for whatever it's going to be. But I try not to complain too much about the summer heat because I will take it over the winter ice and snow any day. So we're still using our sugar candy and getting a nice coating of light dusting of color, I call it, on this stencil number 2. And this one comes together really easy. And this is a nice, relaxing one to make because stenciling is, to me, it's a lot like coloring, and it just kind of get absorbed in what you're doing, and all the other cares just kind of float away for a minute or two, which is nice. We all need a respite from our busy, busy days. And my craft room is mine. So, okay, so that's it for stencil number 2. Just got the background of our roses there. And now we'll start adding some detail to our roses with stencil number 3. And it's nice because you can see with that little base coat which color you want your roses to be. And for these, this time, I'm actually mixing colors. I'm adding some of the sugar candy to the ones that are primarily early sunrise and vice versa. So we'll see how it turns out, but that is what I'm thinking I'm going to do, and just bring that color. I'm going deeper in the center and bring that color out to the edges. And then I'll pick up this one and kind of do the same thing. Get that extra layer of color on there. we'll do some accenting on these with the early sunrise. We have a couple little pieces of petal up here that I want to grab, and here. And then I think what I want to do is start adding in some early sunrise to these and see what that ends up looking like. I want to kind of start on the outer edge with this other color and blend it into the pink a little bit. The sugar candy, it's called. So you just got a multi-tone rose here. Just going around and bringing in a little bit into the flower, but not much. Just kind of along the, really trying to get the, just the little edges of those leaves. That's how we're doing this one. And then we'll go ahead and start with filling in some color on these early sunrise flowers, and we'll do the same, the alternating thing with the sugar candy on these. So we'll start, get that center good and deep, and then blend that color out to the edge some, and then we'll come in and add some sugar candy accents to it. Just blending that color out to the edge. Okay, and then I'll take now the sugar candy and I'll grab these edges of the petals with that sugar candy color. This would make it a little two-toned. And I'm not even bothering to wipe my stencil. I'm okay with the ink blending together on my brush for this one. Just going around and getting that color on there. And blend that in a little, just a teeny bit. And we need to get this one over here. I'll go right around that edge, I think. Just adding a little bit of two-tone color to our roses. Let's see. I think we're okay here. And then these little guys are leaves. And so for my leaves, I've chosen a not normal color for leaves, but I'm going to use inclement weather and cobblestone. So they are more this is inclement weather is like a blue gray, and cobblestone is grayer than this. So I'm using both of those as leaves for my flowers. Okay, so that is it for stencil number 3. Starting to get some detail in here. And on to stencil number 4. And again, we are stenciling directly onto our card base. I'm going to move this inclement weather out for a minute so I don't stick my wrist in there. And then we'll go ahead back in with sugar candy and get this bigger flower. here. And bring that color out. All the way around, pretty much. And then I'll go back in on this one and pick up the rim of the edges of the petals again with this early sunrise. This is in my way. Let's move you out of the way. And I think I'm going to make this one early sunrise. I think on my sample I made it the sugar candy, and it could be because there are probably 3 clusters, but why not mix them up? Just going around that edge a little bit there, getting a little of the added color, and then just blending that all together. And we'll do the same thing with this little guy here. Get some sugar candy on it. And I've got enough of the early sunrise on the edge on the left side, so we'll add a little more on the right side. And that should take care of this flower. Put a little more down here, I think. Just a wee bit. Okay. And then I'll go ahead, let's see, I'll take care of this one up here. Get it in and colored. And then we've got this little one down here that is a early sunrise. And we'll do the same, get that center, a deep color, and then feather out. Just blend that out to the edges. And then come back. You could use a detail brush on these edges, but I'm just not putting the brush all the way onto the stencil, just going around the edge of it. And here's why I needed that tape that I put down at the beginning, because I wanted to make sure that I wasn't inking onto a part of the card that's not supposed to be. So let's see, we'll go ahead and do this one. Let's see, we'll grab our early sunrise. Same process all over again. But it's really quick. I'll go around, put a little bit of ink on this one, and then I'll go over the center with some sugar candy. Okay, and over here we're just gonna color that in. So now we want to add some sugar candy accents to this one and on the edges over here. Go over that a little bit. Okay, and then we have a little piece of leaf here. So I should have enough ink left on this one to get that, and I do. Okay. All right, so I think that takes care of stencil number 4. And things are starting to take shape just a little bit. And we'll go on to stencil number 5 and continuing to add detail to the remaining flowers that we've got. Let's go ahead and pick up our sugar candy for this one. And this, I really have to be careful because that center wiggles and I can't get my fingers there. That's a little bit better. But I noticed I had a lot of wiggling and I wasn't paying attention to it when it was wiggling before, when I did my sample. So I'll just try and go around this way and not wiggle that center too terribly, because it's going to shift quite a bit. Such a delicate flower there. And then we'll just add our early sunrise around this rim. Just a wee bit all the way around. And then we'll go over that a little bit. Okay. And then let's see, what do we need? We need to do, since I've got this in my hand, go ahead and do this one with early sunrise. And then if you don't want 2 different shades on your roses, you can use the same color. You can use all kinds of color combinations on your flowers to color them. But this one is quick and easy. And you can even do some that are single color and some that are mixed. So let me go ahead and pick up my sugar candy for these, and then I'll grab that one that's in the corner. But it's so fun playing with stencils. To me anyway, I think it's fun. If you haven't tried stenciling, you should try it. Layering stencils are really nice. And I've got my sugar candy, so I'm going to go ahead and finish off this flower here in the corner. Get that center. I need to read this pad and pull that out. And do a little bit of shading again on this one, right around the edges. And you can do this much easier with a detail brush, and then just kind of blend those together a little bit. Okay. I think that's it for this stencil. This is stencil number 5. Oops. And now we're on to the leaves. We've got 3 stencils of leaves. And so I'm going to go ahead and put the early sunrise and sugar candy away. And I'll bring up my cobblestones and inclement weather. And like I said, these are not traditional leaf colors, but I like the dark contrast with the light bright flowers, just something different. You can always use the greens, and you can even mix, could have mixed some of the greens with this one. I think that I will start with, I think I'll start with the cobblestone. The more gray, and let me make sure I get this inked up. These pads need to be re-inked, I think, and I'm just going along the rim on one side, and then for these little stemmy leaves, I'm just coloring those in solid. Not worrying about those too much. Just going both directions to make sure that the little holes get fully filled. Lots of little babies on this one. So it goes pretty quick. Okay. Again, this is the cobblestone color. And then for the leaves that are a teeny bit bigger, I'm going to do them, color them the same way I colored that first one, just to make sure it's kind of deep at the base. And then go along the side with my brush and get some ink on there. And then just kind of lightly cover over this one. Do the same thing. I think I'm going to go this side. It's so small, it doesn't really matter much without having a detail brush. And then same down here. Get this. Oh shoot, wrong color. But it's okay. It all works out. Blend them all together. Okay, and we got one little guy up here. All right, so that is taking care of this one. And our leaves are starting to fill in our background. And this is stencil number 7, and I'm going to do the same thing, but I'm going to use inclement weather, which is, it's very close in color, but it has a little bit more blue to it. But it's a blue gray. And we'll just go around, and this brush is very, very full of ink. So I'm going to, for these little babies again, I'm just going to fill those in. Not take a bunch of time with those. There really aren't too many leaves that you can take time with because they're all so small. And now if I used a detail brush, I could add a little shading, but I'm not going to worry with it. I just going with it, filling them in. And then we've got a little bit here. And down here, got to remember what color I'm using. And this one is coming from the base, but I'm going to do it this way. And this one. And then we got this guy that's peeking through. And I really think that takes care of it. There's a little teeny one down here. I think I got him on. Oops, no, there's a little baby over here. Just barely, but he's there. Okay. All right, so that takes care of stencil number 7. Coming together nicely. And stencil number 8. This is our final stencil. And then we will put our card together. It's so much fun to stencil, just enjoying it so much. I hope you get a chance to, even if you don't have this set, if you don't have stencils, I can recommend Lisa's. They're very, very good. But if you have some of your own, pull them out, use them. Craft a little kindness. I try to get in my craft room every day, but this week has been a challenge, I'll have to say. I wasn't sure I was even going to make it for today. This is my second week of missing my blog, so I'm really not pleased with that, but it is what it is. I'm just thankful I could be here today. That's always something to be thankful for. Okay, and then we got these up here, and that'll take care of our stenciling. Oops, stencil's moving around here. I didn't push that down on my tacky mat. Okay, so I think that will take care of, oops, here we go. So that is all of the stenciling that we need to do. And we've got our background all done. Okay, so I'm going to pull this tape off. And then this would, you could actually just fold this over and add a sentiment like so and be done. But I'm going to change it up just a little bit. Let me get this out of the way. So what I want to do next is go ahead and use the embossing folder on this and get some embossing in. It just adds that extra little oomph to your inking, and that looks pretty well set up. I think off down here just a little bit. Okay, so I think that looks pretty good. I'll bring that together, and then I'm going to put this in my embossing machine here. It's my sandwich, and I'll just run that through. There we go. So again, we ink directly onto our card base. So there we go. You can see a lot of nice, a good deep emboss on this one. And so I'm going to go ahead and burnish this. My bone folder. And then I'm going to fold it down in half, bring it down to where the card is folded, the card center. I didn't want to risk scoring this, so I'm just kind of being very careful and creating my, I'll make sure that stays straight. And then once it looks like I got it, then I'll give it a better crease and double check to make sure that that is, because I want it, let's go back in. After you do that, when you have to go back and get that edge again so that when it lifts up, it'll lift that way, create a little tint. And then this is the extra large sentiment, and I just die cut it in. I inked up a piece with the inclement weather and cut out the shadow, and then I cut out the white, the thanks in white, and I put an extra layer of white behind the shadow. So I've got two shadow pieces on there because I wanted to make sure that it was going to be thick enough to keep that that rim from moving over top of the sentiment the way it did in my sample. I just did the two pieces in my sample, so I'm doing three just to make sure that that's going to sit the way that I want it. Okay, so you see where that is sitting. So I will put that up just a wee bit from where it naturally wants to stop. And then let the sentiment be your stopper. Okay, and then we need to embellish this. So one of the things that I opted for was a butterfly. So I used this little guy, this little half-winged butterfly from the Butterfly Silhouettes, and I just ink it up with, I put it on my Better Press in the center, and I just inked it up with the same two inks I used, Early Sunrise and Sugar Candy. And just ink that up directly onto the plate. And just kind of meld those two colors together. And then I'll get a piece of scrap paper here, and scrap. And I'll just, actually it's a panel, and I'll just take this on to my plate. I just want to get a piece big enough. You don't have to use a piece this big, but I just want to make sure, one, that it sticks on there. And then I'll run this through my better press. My embossing machine, I said my better press. I'm running my better press through my embossing machine. And let's see, double check and make sure we like the color. And I think that looks pretty good. So then I'm going to take that. Let me get this off of here and put my better press away. And then there's a coordinating die. So I'm going to use that die to cut out the butterfly. Just trying to get it lined up so that I have an even border all around. That looks pretty good to me. And then we'll just run this through and die cut it. Get my die cutting plates back on my machine. And we should be pretty good to go. Okay, so we got our beautiful die cut butterfly, and only a couple things left to do to finish this one off. We've got some diamond stickles, and I'm going to, before I do that, I think I'm actually going to put this on the card front, and then I will add some stickles everywhere that I want stickles to be. So just glue this and about that part, because and we'll put it right about there on the card front, and it'll all lay flat. So you can fold it and send it in a regular A2 size envelope. And then, so I want to take some diamond stickles. I want to put just a little bit on the wings, just to give some extra little sparkle to it. Let me get a scrap piece of paper here. There we go. Didn't want to squirting out in a big glump. And I'm just kind of smoothing it in around some of the white openings on the butterfly. Not all of them, but just a few of them. And I think I'll do this one. Just enough to add a little bit of sparkle. And you could use Wink Estella for this too if you don't have stickles. But I had them out for a project that I did earlier in the week. Let's see, put one up here. Maybe one of these guys. Just kind of randomly around. And then we'll put some on the these little circles. Not all of them, but just every other one or so. And we got our butterflies sparkling so pretty. I'm gonna put some here. That should be enough, just enough to give it a little bit of shimmer. And we can put that up now. And then I'll add a few down here at the bottom, just to add a little extra. Don't have to use these. You can use other embellishments if you have them. But I've got this out, so why not? Just kind of go around, and wherever you think it'll look good, go for it. And I'll put some across here. And gotta get a, oops. That's one thing I gotta be careful when I'm moving it to not knock it off, not do what I just did. Let me hold that there so I don't knock it off again. So I want to finish up this side. And one up there. And there you go. That is today's project, using the background roses and the butterfly silhouette. So thank you so much for watching. What did I do for Lisa this week? Oh, I did do this one for Lisa earlier this week, a black and white card using one of her new layered wildflowers. But that is the padded quilt, and these are her metallic inks. And then I had some stickles, gold stickles there. So that's one of the cards. I did another one actually for the live that is, it's the same thing, but it has just a single sentiment. So I like the single sentiment that I actually did in the live. So you can see that at Lisa Horton. If you go to YouTube and search for Lisa Horton Crafts, you'll see that video there. So thank you again for this one. It does make a difference having that extra piece there. But thank you again for watching. I'm glad that you stopped by. I hope you enjoyed today's project. If you do, please give me a thumbs up. And I will be back next Thursday with another card to share. Hopefully I will be blogging the card that I showed last week. I'll try and get that blog this week. But thank you so much. Have a fantastic week. I hope that you get some time to craft a little kindness of your own. And we will see you next Thursday. Bye for now.